yourself so that I can locate you. Thank you. I see a raised hand to caller user 19. Good afternoon. Is this Ms. Deborah Buck-Leeton?
Yes, it is. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please proceed with your statement.
My name is Deborah, B-E-B-R-A, Buck, B-U-C-K hyphen Leeton, L-E-A-T-O-N. And my family are landowners with the Excelsior Solar Project. I would like to thank Judge Sear and the Siting Board for the opportunity to speak to everyone today. As landowners in the Excelsior Solar Project, we would like to address the board regarding the many advantages the Excelsior Solar Project will bring to our farming business and the community. Leeview Farms has been in business since 1929. It has been passed down through 3 generations, and we have always prided ourselves in being good stewards of our land, preserving it for future generations. As most of you know, the cost of farming is overwhelming. With the fear of not knowing when and if your next paycheck will be coming to help pay the rising costs of crop production, anxiety, not often discussed but often present, is a mainstay in a farming household. Many people have said that we are giving up prime farmland. Everyone needs to keep in mind that prime farmland is and can only be considered prime farmland if it is able to be farmed. If we can't afford to farm the land, it can only be considered vacant land. Not only has the revenue from NextEra enabled my family to do many needed repairs to our farm buildings and equipment, the revenue will also help the town of Byron afford things that we never could have imagined. With good leadership, the town will be able to also be good stewards of our small town well into the future. Some of the farmers who are participating in the Excelsior Solar Project are also residents of the town of Byron. We have no plans on leaving town after the solar project is in. On the contrary, we hope to contribute more to our community by having the means to give back when and where necessary. My husband and I are both well entrenched and active in our community. I have been the town clerk for the last 16 years, and my husband is the highway superintendent. We have seen firsthand how the rising cost of taxes and no consistent source of revenue other than the town's reliability on county sales tax has strained the town's financial future. With the Excelsior Solar Project and the many benefits the town will receive as part of the host agreement, our little town of Byron, New York could become a place where future generations stay or come back to because we'll have something to offer them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Buck-Leeton. Could you please press *3 again to unraise your hand so that we can find the next caller? Thank you very much. Our next speaker is James Vincent. Ms. Wasser is, okay, we do have a raised hand.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mr. Vincent.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My name is James Vincent, Jamesvincent. I am the retired president and CEO of Elbrook Farms and associated companies. We are participants. Some of our land is going to be participating in this Excelsior Solar Project. During my tenure of over 55 years plus in our farming operation, it has grown from 500 acres to over 7,500 acres, encompassing lands in 6 counties of Western New York. We are advocates of green energy, integrated technology, and the many advantages the Excelsior Solar Project represents. Not just because of having some of our lands involved in these solar leases, but what a dynamic and steady income stream means to our farm business model. It's going to provide for a vehicle for long-term investment, succession planning, and further diversification. It goes without saying that these are unprecedented and challenging times, not only for our farm business, the town of Byron, the Byron Virgin School District, Genesee County, but for our economy and rural lifestyle. As a former town supervisor, and because of my numerous county positions in planning, infrastructure, resources, and economic development, I know firsthand the driver that a diverse and healthy agriculture can provide to local economies. Our operation pays over $200,000 a year in local and school district taxes. We understand that in New York, we will have good education, great medical care, and strong social services. But basing it on real estate taxation puts us at an unfavorable competitive position. The community will benefit this project, providing benefits that should translate into less tax burden for agriculture, the host benefit packages, and the pilot agreements that are incorporated in it. The importance of having solar for agriculture and associated services furthers our history of success in having diversity for our farm business. Our involvement in many different agricultural sectors, dairy, fruit, vegetables, equipment, and associated services, both for the production and processing of our land's bounty, have provided opportunity for growth and sustainability. Today, that growth and sustainability and the very survival of agriculture is challenged by low commodity prices, global trade policies, and a diminishing labor pool, government regulation, and unfair tax burdens. Alternative sources of income are absolutely essential if our farm businesses and the associated land base are to be sustained and provide opportunity for future generations. My experience on bank board leadership roles with the Farm Service Agency of USDA and the Farm Credit System have taught me the value of a defined income stream that allows for budgeting for reinvestment for fragile family farm businesses. Land use planning and the preservation of agricultural lands are paramount to farm and community. As former chair of the New York State Advisory Council on Agriculture, I see a tremendous parallel these solar leases provide to land conservation and the investment that New York makes yearly in the purchase of development rights, ensuring future generations will have land to farm when leases are terminated or technology makes them obsolete. I see solar farms as additional technology that has driven U.S. agriculture to be the envy of the world. The green revolution is here to stay, and climate change is real. Through 25 years, culminating as chairman of the National Council of Agricultural Research, Extension, and Teaching, has exposed me to the promise and opportunity that we must garner to remain viable for our farms and communities. My grandfather said the most important thing a farmer can put on his land is his shadow. It capitalizes on light from the sun. I hope we and our community are allowed to do the same. Thank you very much, and thank you to the Siting Board for allowing me this time.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent. If you could hit *3 again to unraise your hand, then we'll be able to find the next speaker. The next speaker that I have on the list is Mr. Vincent Albanese. You do not need to raise your hand. Ms. Wasser, could you unmute him?
Mr.
Go ahead.
Albanese, it is. You may proceed.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Hi, my name is Vincent Albanese. and I'm speaking today on behalf of the New York State Laborers Organizing Fund and the 40,000 plus working men and women in New York State that are members of the affiliated local unions of LIUNA, the Laborers International Union of North America. We would like to strongly encourage the swift approval of the Excelsior Solar Project as it pertains to these Article 10 proceedings. Our interest in the approval and construction of this project is twofold. Our first priority is always the well-being of our members and ensuring that any project being built has a firm commitment to creating good quality, middle-class, union jobs for a local workforce. This project and NextEra's other large grid-scale projects in New York have made that commitment. But our second priority is ensuring that any project that is taking place in what we call the just transition, replacing traditional fossil fuel jobs, is being built here in New York, again, with a New York local union workforce. This job, and as stated, the other jobs of this size and scale, NextEra has committed to building union, middle-class jobs. We'd like to once again encourage the swift approval of this project and as it pertains to future projects of NextEra, that same approval. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Barbie Starowitz. Can you please hit *3 to raise your hand? Go ahead and speak, please. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Barbie Starowitz. I'm a farmer and landowner participating with the Excelsior Energy Center. I'd like to start my comments today by thanking you, Judge, for this opportunity today to discuss the project. I'd also like to thank NextEra Energy Resources for making this project possible and everyone else who is here for today's hearing. Since 1932, when my grandfather first started working on our farm, it has always been in our family's wish to foster and grow the land for generations to come. And after graduating Byron High School, I invested in that farmland, and so did other members of my family here in Byron, New York. I have made a good living working on my family's farm and hope that I can continue to do so, and that those who follow me can as well. The Excelsior Energy Center will not only support our farm for future generations to come, but it will also provide new local revenue, new local jobs for our community, and continue to provide us with the opportunity to support other farmers in our area. Farm communities are, after all, made stronger when they work together, and we will continue to support activities pursued by others in our community on our land. Over the next 20 years, the Excelsior Energy Center anticipates providing more than $37.4 million to the town of Byron, the Byron-Virgin Central School District, and Genesee County. In addition, the project anticipates creating approximately 290 full-time equivalent jobs during construction and has committed to hiring 90% of the employees working on the project site, excluding construction project management, from the local labor force as defined in the Genesee County Economic Development Center. Farmers are trying to diversify so that they can continue to stay in business in the future. Each crop year, we rely heavily on the weather. But for so many of these years, it is either too wet or too dry. Crops have been suffering, low yields, bad quality, and so on. But a farmer must still come up with money to pay the expenses. The advantage of a clean solar energy income will help the farms to survive, reducing economic pressures faced by farmers and encouraging an approach that does not permanently remove land from agricultural production. Excelsior Energy Center supports farmers' rights to use their land appropriately to support the viability of their businesses. Lastly, the Excelsior team's commitment to community input is unmatched. Project representatives have attended and hosted community events, such as weekly meetings at the BYRON Hotel and talking to neighbors to obtain local feedback. They have also hosted informational sessions with Genesee County first responders, like me, to answer specific questions that we had. As a certified EMT and a member of the first responder community, we are always concerned with the safety and well-being of others. Sessions like this provided valuable information so that we could do just that. All of these efforts were made to make this the best possible project for our community. I would like to thank you, sir, for letting me have a chance to speak on behalf of this project today. The BYRON community of over 2,300 people can and will benefit from the solar project. Working together is a positive thing for the whole community and our future generation. Thank you.
Could I get you to please spell your name for the record?
Sure, it's Barbie, and then the last name is spelled S-T-A-R-O-W-I-T-Z.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Please hit *3 again to unraise your hand. And we will move on to the next speaker, Mr. Richard Colby. Ms. Wasser, could you unmute him? Go ahead.
Mr. Colby, you muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for holding this session. My name is Richard Colby, R-I-C-H-A-R-D-C-O-L-B-Y. I work in Genesee County, and I'm a landowner participating in the Excelsior Energy Center program. I plan on submitting a more detailed written piece after this session, but I'm going to touch on my highlights right now today. Judge Thayer and the other speakers. And also, I'd like to address this to the present and future people of BYRON. I'd like to explain why I think this program, this solar array, this solar farm should be built and how it would benefit the community. I grew up on a large family farm, diversified many crops in neighboring county. In my teens and early 20s, I actually worked the land in BYRON that will be developed with the solar arrays, the very land. My family's business, Colby Homestead Farms, is still operating. It's in its 8th generation, producing fresh market milk and cabbage, in addition to several other crops. In my lifetime, farming, the use of the land has changed. The choice of crops, the practices, the selective breeding, technological improvements, mechanisms have all made changes to how the land is used, and also changes to the associated viewscape. And this has happened everywhere, but especially in the town of BYRON. It's really changed probably every 10 years or so. A new crop comes in or some new thing happens that shifted. Over my lifetime, they've gone from cash crops of the area of tomatoes, potatoes, beans, cabbage is currently grown, and peas. But now much of the land is just used to grow subsidized monocrops using a lot of chemical fertilizers and pesticides. So one thing that the solar will bring is jobs, well-paying jobs, and added value to the community. But then you say, what about the downsides? We've not heard much of that yet today. But the questions I have will be destructive to the land. Does it produce noxious smells? Will create a lot of traffic? Will use chemicals and rely on fossil fuels for inputs? Basically, is it illegal, immoral, or fattening? You know, that's the thing. Is it going to be a negative thing? Probably most people say, well, lower the value of the real estate. In my opinion, I think all these things will be really a resounding and solid no. Okay, maybe the fattening part's a little bit out of reach, but if you think about today's diets, there could be changes there. You know, electricity 100 years ago in Byron, I don't think any of the houses had electricity available in the house. Now, if you don't have a home with electricity, you probably couldn't even build it. I can see solar producing as just another export crop, converting sunshine to usable energy, just like the plants do today. The Excelsior Energy Center is I view a good and necessary change that will provide new local revenue and new local jobs to the community. But will it impact our home values? Many of the neighbors exclaim. Well, I agree, it will impact the home values. Over the next 20 years, Excelsior Energy Center anticipates providing $37.4 million to the town of Byron, Byron-Virgin Central School, and Genesee County. This enhancement will drive up real estate values through lower taxes and enhanced community services that Byron will make Byron a place that residents will want to stay, but not only stay, but move to. How much residential building has taken place in the last decade in the town of Byron? I'm not aware of much of, if any, built in the last 10 years. These solar lease payments made to the community and myself will help me maintain my existing farmstead and invest in complementary agriculture and coexist with the solar panels. There's even a name for it if you look at agrovoltaics. So I think it's really complementary to the agriculture, not really a negative to it. You know, the entire town will not be covered with solar panels, as many may have said. In my property, a third of the land will be outside of the fence, much of the high accessible existing roads. And in total, inside the fence, half of the project area less will be covered with solar panels. I'm really looking for new and different uses to use these strips and buffers, things like you-pick crops, nursery stock. They've even been researching installing a hops yard to have locally sourced key input for beer brewing. In summary, once built, the Accessory Energy Center will be complemented to the rural, residential, and existing agricultural land uses. Not to mention, it'll bring tremendous benefits to the community through new revenue, local jobs in the construction, and support the farms in the community. I'd like to thank you, Judge Sayre, and those listening today for the chance to speak on the project's behalf. Thank you for your time.
And thank you very much for your comments. Our next speaker is Carmen Serret. If you could press *3 on your phone, then we can identify what line you're on.
Good afternoon. Is this Carmen Serret? Hello?
Is it possible that your phone is muted on your end? Yes, we've got you.
I think it was. Okay, thank you very much. My name is Carmen Serret. I'm representing Local 435, Labor's Union Local 435 out of Rochester. I'm president of the local. We have about approximately 1,000 members in the local. Right now, we got quite a few out of work right now, mainly because the COVID's put a pretty big hit on construction, even in the city, but even outside of the city in the smaller towns, to put even a bigger hit on our members are in desperate need of these projects. They live on these projects, live off of these projects, I should say. These projects are not low-paying projects. They're actually high-paying projects, and that's a good thing for the economy. It's very important that local people are working on these projects as they earn their money, they spend the money locally in the economy, boosting each local economy. And so on behalf of more than 600 working members just in Local 435's area, which this project is in Local 435's area. We definitely are in favor of this project and would like to see it move forward as fast as it can go. Thank you.
Could you please spell your name for the record, please?
Yeah, it's Carmen, C-A-R-M-E-N, and Serrett, S-E-R-R-E-T-T.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments, and please hit *3 again to unraise your hand. Thank you. Our next speaker is Michael Bader.
Bader, you are unmuted. Please proceed.
All right. My name is Mike Bader, B-A-D-E-R. I'm the business manager of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 86. I represent over 1,000 electricians in 7-county area, one of which is Genesee County. And I would like to recommend this project. It would help New York meet its aggressive clean energy goals. It also creates good paying careers with benefits for my members and other members of the local building trades. This creates job training opportunities through apprenticeships. So there's, ongoing continuation of knowledge. There's not just jobs, but these are careers for hardworking middle-class tradesmen. And after construction, there'd be some long-term jobs created for local people, mowing, plowing, maintenance of the fields and whatnot. And also there's the ongoing agricultural aspects that'll, there'll still be some farming involved in or outside of some of these facilities. Might have to get creative, but once again, I'd like to thank you for hearing me out, and I'm hoping this gets approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. If you could please unraise your hand, either electronically or with *3. Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Frank Dimartino. Could you please hit *3 on your phone?
Mr. Dimartino, if you're a calling user, can you please press *3 on your phone so we can identify and I can locate you? Thank you. Judge, Mr. Dimartino does not appear to be on the line.
We'll circle back at the end and see if we can pick him up. Our next speaker is Kenneth Pike. Can you please hit *3?
Mr. Pike, if you are on the line, please hit *3 to identify yourself so I can locate you. Thank you. Mr. Pike does not appear to be on the line.
We'll circle back again for him too. Our next speaker is Eric Zuber.
Mr. Zuber, you have been unmuted. Please proceed.
Could you circle back, please? He's had to get called away.
Sure, we'll pick him up at the end.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to call the people who registered by telephone. When I call your name, as some of the people already have, you'll have to hit *3 on your telephone so that we can identify you. And it might take us a little bit of time to catch you. Please be sure to unmute your phone at your end. And again, please spell your name when you start and identify any organization that you are representing. If you're having a technical problem getting through to make your statement, we are monitoring the 800 number used for calling in registrations, and we'll try to help with any problem. That number is in the notice of these hearings and is 800-342-3330. At this time, I call Emily Delano. Could you please hit *3?
Delano, can you please hit *3 on your keypad so that I can identify and locate you if you are on the line? Thank you. Ms. Delano, once again, if you are on the line, please press *3 so that we may locate and identify you if you are on the line. Thank you. Judge,
Okay,
Ms. Delano.
another one to circle back for. Our next speaker is Richard Glazier. Please hit *3.
Good afternoon. Is this Mr. Richard Glazier?
Yes, can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can. Please proceed.
My name is Richard Glazier. That's last name is spelled Glazier. I wish to express my opposition to the proposed solar panel installation in the town of BYRON. The proposed installation would be located on nearly 2,000 acres of mostly Class 1 farmland, some of the best land in New York State. Recent record high prices for corn and soybeans caused by droughts in the western United States, Brazil, and Australia, creating a shortage of these crops, emphasize the need to preserve good farmland. Solar panels will generate as much electricity if placed on less valuable land. Sources of renewable energy may be desirable, but not nearly as important as an adequate and affordable food supply. Solar panels being located adjacent to several main roads passing through our community will cause substantial visual pollution. The size of this project in our small town will have considerable negative impact on the quality of life for our residents of our community. It will never quite be the same. It is difficult to fault the landowners for leasing property for the solar installation when the annual lease payments offered are several times larger than could be realized by growing crops on this land. Likewise, the town board is enamored with the size of the payment in lieu of taxes. This would seem to be more reasonable if not for the fact that it appears the only way these excessive payments are possible is because these projects are subsidized by the taxpayers of the state of New York. There have been recent articles about the possibility of PFAS and other toxic chemicals eroding from the solar panels and into the soil and runoff water. Until this is completely ruled out, it would seem that no further solar projects should be approved. Much of the process for siting this installation in the town of BYRON has occurred during the ongoing pandemic. This being the case, many of the town board meetings and public hearings, including this one, have been held virtually. Many of the residents of our community have not had the benefit of the technology or the capability to participate in this manner. For those who did participate, it was often not possible to know who was speaking or to clearly understand the proceedings because of poor sound quality. I believe that the residents of BYRON have not been afforded due process under Article 10, and therefore Solar Project Case 19F0299 should not be approved. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for your comments. If you could hit *3 again to unraise your hand. Thank you. That's the list of speakers. I'm going to circle back through the people we didn't catch the first time around. Frank Dimartino, if you're on the line, please press *3.
Mr. Dimartino, once again, if you're on the line, please press star 3 so that we can locate and identify you. Thank you.
We'll move on to Kenneth Pike. Mr. Pike, if you're on the line, please press star 3.
Mr. Pike, once again, if you're on the line, please press star 3 so that we can locate and unmute you. Thank you. Judge, Mr. Pike does not appear to be on the line.
Okay, let's move on to Mr. Eric Zuber.
Mr. Zuber, you've been unmuted. Are you ready to proceed?
Eric Zuber, he's still is been delayed. I believe that he will probably try and make the next session this afternoon, if that's possible.
Yes, he's actually signed up for the 6 p.m., so that will work.
Alrighty then. Well, thank you then.
And finally, Emily Delano.
Ms. Delano, if you're on the line, please press star 3 so that we can locate and identify you so you can make your statement. Thank you. Judge, Ms. Delano does not appear to be on the line.
Okay, we do have some additional time for this hearing, and I'd like to give people who did not register in advance an opportunity to speak. I'll start with people who are participating electronically. You'll need to find an icon on your screen that looks like a little hand and click on it. The instructions are on the slide that we are now displaying. Click on that now, and we'll find you in the participant list, call your name, and unmute you.
I have Mr. James Lampkin. Mr. Lampkin, you have been unmuted. You may proceed.
You hear me, first of all?
Yes, we do.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to offer our comments. My name is Jim Lampkin, and I've lived in Byron for close to 70 years. I'm here today representing Byron Association Against Solar, also known as BASS, and to advocate against the Excelsior Solar Project, which proposes a conversion of almost 2,000 acres of some of the best prime farmland in New York State to a 280 megawatt solar energy generating facility, a planned on-site collection substation, and interconnection facilities in a long-standing agricultural and residential community. BASS is a grassroots organization whose aim is to prevent or limit the size of the nearly 3,500 acre Excelsior solar project. First of all, we want it clear that we are not against solar energy, but we are concerned that the placement of the solar panels very close to residences, and we are further concerned with the use of farmland. The BASS Association is made up of long-term Byron residents, landowners, homeowners, business owners, and other stakeholders who are concerned that the solar project will disrupt the current and future productivity of the land, will lower surrounding home and land values, and will be an intrusive eyesore for the residents, and will have targeted and ripple effects in the surrounding agriculture-based economy. It is important for this board to take the applicants to task regarding the feasible alternatives to the conversion of numerous acres of prime farmland, such as siting on less productive farmland or less intrusive locations not directly adjacent to residential homes. In December of 2019, a survey was mailed to by VAS to approximately 900 residences in the town of Byron. Overall, about 350 individual responses opposing the project in the town were received and submitted to the Byron Town Board. We believe that this is a substantial percentage of the adult population of Byron and is representative of a major portion of the public opinion. This survey should have caused the town to further investigate the town's collective opinion, but no further action was taken. The town of Byron consists of 20,727 acres, of which 12,475 acres, or 60.4%, are classified as prime farmland. Another 5,083 acres, 24.6%, are classified as prime farmland if drained. As a result of this project, 1,500 to 2,000 acres of some of the best agricultural land in New York State will be taken out of production for as much as 30 years. That the applicant has failed to present an adequate plan for reversion and is discounting the impact this project will have on the farmland that remains after the panel fields are carved out. Replacing active farmland with solar panels will also change the rural character of the community and impact those residential homes surrounding the project site. VAS is gravely concerned that the applicant has failed to provide adequate screening to reduce the impacts on surrounding properties and failed to appropriately mitigate the impacts that result from conversion of rolling farmland and colorful foliage to rows of solar panels, some within 200 feet of property lines on 3 sides of their homes. VAS is also concerned about the health impacts such as PFAS contamination associated with the long-term operation of solar farms. VAS requests that this board require Excelsior to evaluate the potential impacts on the health and safety of the surrounding residents. Regarding the long-term effect on agriculture, a study conducted by ESI estimated that the reduction in economic impact of Byron's and Batavia's dairy industry resulting from the project would mean a potential 12.3 million reduction in total economic impact, 27 FTE jobs, and a 1.6 million in labor income. The Byron Town Board approved and adopted its current comprehensive plan in January of 2019. This plan clearly states that maintaining the rural character remains the most crucial factor. It is further states that the goals of the plan are, number 1, preserve the agricultural based land and farms, and number 2, maintain the rural character. Clearly, the completion of the Excelsior solar project is in direct conflict with the current Byron comprehensive plan that was approved by the community. Article 10.1001.4, Exhibit 4E, requires that Exhibit 4 shall contain a statement as to whether the municipality has an adopted comprehensive plan and whether the proposed land use is consistent with such comprehensive plan. We do not believe that the proposed land use is consistent with the town of Byron comprehensive plan adopted January 2019. To summarize, there's a significant segment of the town population that does not want Excelsior to move forward due to the visual, cultural, and economic impact it will have on our community. In short, Excelsior has not appropriately identified, studied, and minimized the adverse environmental effects associated with the project, and Excelsior cannot be allowed to move forward with this process until it complies with the PSL. Based on these findings, we ask that the New York State Board on Electrical Generation, Siting, and the Environment, case 19-F-0299, reject the application of Excelsior Energy LLC for a certificate of environmental compatibility and public need pursuant to Article 10 of the Public Service Law for construction of solar electric generating facility in the town of Byron, Genesee County. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for your comments. Please hit that raise hand icon again to unraise your hand. Next, we will go to people who are participating by telephone who did not register in advance but would like to speak. If you wish to speak, please press *3 on your telephone now. We will find all the people requesting to speak, if any. We won't have your name, so please make sure to wait until you hear a beep indicating that your line has been unmuted. And please be sure to unmute your phone at your end. Please identify yourself and any group that you represent, spell your name, and when finished, press *3 again to effectively unraise your hand. Ms. Wasser, do you see any raised hands?
Not you. Oh, I see one. Hold on just a moment. Good afternoon. Welcome to the hearing. Can you please identify yourself?
Yes, my name is Judith Falzoy, and I am I live in Western New York, and I'd like to make a comment about the project.
Please go ahead.
Could you please state your name again and spell it?
Yes, it's Judith, Judith. The last name is Falzoy, and that's F-A-L, Z as in zoo, O-I.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you. Yes, whenever I hear people talking in support of these large-scale commercial projects, it all has to do with their income, their money, their jobs. The people that I hear speak who are not for it are talking about something that you cannot put a dollar sign on. It's intrinsic inside of them. During the time of COVID, we've all realized the mental anguish that we've felt by the change in the way we live. The large-scale solar projects planned for New York State are going to change the sense of place, the sense of home that we need in order to survive during times of trial. Placing the solar panels in place of waving grasses, corn, whatever is growing, is a very large change. It is not rural character. It is industrial character. It does not benefit the entire community. It benefits a few. New York State has not taken time to fully examine the ramifications of what they are going to allow on our best prime farmland. The chemicals that are involved in the manufacturing of solar panels are actually very harmful and dangerous, and are even associated with our immune system and ability to fully use vaccinations. That is documented in EPA. Today, our state of New York is cleaning up polyperfluorinated alkaline PFAS forever chemicals from industrial spills, from firefighting foam, and they're finding it at landfills, not associated with industrial or firefighting, but from the use in our society. If indeed, as I believe, these forever chemicals are on the external sides of these panels, or at least the imported panels, according to the EPA, that is going to erode into the soil, into the water, first affecting the people in BYRON. That is not socially just. The people of BYRON have not been approached with this type of project ever. They certainly do not have the skill set to be able to evaluate what industry, solar industry, electrical industry is able to do. But there will be an effect. And they're pleading for your help. Scale down the size. Right now, there are 31 million panels in application in NYSERDA. 31 million. It's hard to imagine what that is going to do to rural New York State. And it's up to you, you judges, you people who are reviewing these things, to look beyond the dollar sign. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. And if you could hit *3 again to unraise your hand, I'd appreciate it. If there is anyone else who wishes to speak, please press *3 now. Ms. Wasser, do you see any further raised hands?
No, Your Honor, I do not.
I'd like to remind members of the public that there are several other ways to comment, which we're displaying now and which are also in the notice of public statement hearing. Please make sure that all comments reference this case 19F0299. You can email comments to secretary@dps.ny.gov. You can use U.S. mail to the Secretary of the Siting Board, 3 Empire State Plaza, Albany 12223. You can phone in comments to 1-800-335-2120. And you can post your comments directly into the case file. To do that, use a web browser and go to www.dps.ny.gov. On the homepage, click on the blue search button and enter the case number, 19F0299, into the search by case number box. The page you get will give you access to all public documents filed in the case. And you can post comments by clicking the Post Comments box at the top right of the page. Ms. Wasser, are there any remaining requests for people to speak?
No, there are not, Your Honor.
Judge McBride and I thank you all for your interest in this case and your participation. We also want to thank the Department of Public Service, Office of Consumer Services staff, and in particular, Joe Wasser and Joseph White, for administering this session, and our court reporter. This hearing is now concluded. We'll go off the record.
Off the record.
Okay, we can terminate this call. Thank you very much. Everybody stay safe.